any of these things are going to make me happy. Arjun is questioning, is there something more? Arjun on the battlefield doesn't have a doubt that he's going to win. His name is Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya means the winner of wealth. He's a winner. He's always been a winner in his life. There's no one more accomplished than him. He has no doubt that he's going to win. But what he has a doubt about is, even if I win, is it going to make me happy? And therefore he's questioning, is there something more than just this in terms of success? Dhritarashtra, he is interested in those things. His name, his very name, Dhritarashtra. Dhri means to hold, and Rashtra means the land. So it's literally holding on to the land. Can't let go of his material desires. And Arjun on the other side is confused. So Arjun's conclusion is that if I pursue material success, but I neglect the spiritual side, it won't make me happy. So he's realizing trying to enjoy the world is not going to work. He's come to that conclusion. But then, what Arjun thinks is that, what about if I then pursue spiritual life and say goodbye to the material world? Mom, I'm going to become a monk. And the interesting thing is, he's thinking then maybe I should escape. And the interesting thing is, what does Krishna tell him? No. What Krishna actually tells Arjuna to do is pursue material success, win the kingdom, win the wealth, win the position, win the profit, win it all. And then connect it to your spiritual aspirations. In other words, engage with the world appropriately. So if you try to enjoy the world, it's not going to work. If you try to escape the world, it's not going to work. But if you engage with the world appropriately, that's real success. And therefore, sometimes people say, parents are worried that their kids will get too involved. Like my name, when I was born, was Sandeep. So someone said to me, Sandeep, don't go too deep. I said, but it's my name. No, go, but don't go too deep. Because they think that if someone becomes spiritual, they're going to lose all their ambition. They're going to run away from everything. They're going to escape. They're not going to be able to achieve anything. They're not going to utilize their talent. But actually, devotees, spiritualists are the most ambitious. Actually, they're the most successful. But material success is too small. Therefore, what they do is they take material success and they orientate it towards spiritual success. And in that way, they actually begin to achieve a greater happiness. So Krishna is teaching us to rethink life. Sometimes we think things are happening to us. Is that true? Not exactly. Things are not just happening to you. Things are happening for you. Sometimes we feel I'm a victim. Things are just happening to me. But the devotee is never a victim. The devotee knows things are happening for me, for my good, for my advancement, for my growth. The world will tell you success is doing things better. But Krishna is teaching in the Gita, success is doing better things. Don't just try and do things better. Earn more, be more, go higher. But Krishna is teaching us, do better things. What is worthy of your attention, effort, and time in this world? The world will tell you material and spiritual are opposed. Therefore, most families say, when you're old, first one and then the other. Just like there was one young monk, he wanted to join, so his father was not agreeing. So his father came in. So he was speaking to our head monk. So he said, look, I have no problem. He can do it, but let him grow up. Let him finish his degree, let him get a job, let him have children, and once his children are as old as him, take him. So the devotee said, forget him, we'll take you. I said, my God. Take him instead. Everyone always says, later, 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 later. But material and spiritual are not opposed. Material and spiritual are complementary. Okay, you can do everything, fulfill all your duties, and at the same time be very spiritually progressive. And life is not just about earning a living, but it's actually about earning a life. Did you know it's possible to live but actually be dead? Because many people are thinking they're living, but actually they're just existing. So never skip over the first chapter of the Gita. Sometimes people read the first chapter and they think, okay, so many names here, conch shells and all this. What's all this about? I want the real philosophy. But actually, if you look at the first chapter of the Gita, it's actually teaching us that the very first thing we have to do in life is understand what is success. The very first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is we have to have it very clear in our mind. What is success? Then we can ensure whatever we're doing in life is aligned like that. Make sense? Okay, what I'll do is I'll do 2 sections at a time, and then I'll just stop and see whether you have any questions. Okay, so now we have completed the first section of the Gita where Arjuna is having an existential crisis. And he's telling Krishna, I don't know what is success, I don't know if it's going to make me happy. And Krishna is telling him, do your spiritual and material have to be integrated. The next chapter of the Gita is known as Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya is a very interesting word. Sankhya means analysis. Everyone in the world is analyzing. When you come into the room, people are analyzing you. Me and my dad, we were mad cricket fans. So we used to analyze all the scores, the batting average, the bowling average. Some people analyze the news. Donald Trump. Trump 2.0. So some people analyze sports, some people analyze politics, some people analyze people. Everyone is analyzing something. But Krishna says the very first analysis you need to do, the very first Sankhya you need to do is to understand what's the difference between spirit and matter. That is the first equation to get correct. If you understand this distinction, what is spirit and what is matter, every other analysis is worthwhile. And so, Arjuna is an archer, isn't it? So when an archer is about to launch an arrow, what does the archer do first? First has to go back, isn't it? So Krishna has redefined success, telling Arjuna that success is not just material achievement. But now, what Krishna will tell Arjuna is that if you want to achieve that success, you have to follow your dharma. But in order to know what is your dharma, Krishna will tell Arjuna, first you have to understand your identity. You see, there is material success, and there is spiritual success. And, in the same way, there is material dharma, and there is spiritual dharma. And there is a material part to your identity, and then there's your actual identity, which is spiritual. And the basic problem in life is that 99.999% of people only deal with this. And therefore, they are only existing they are not living. Living means you have to incorporate this. So, now, the first thing that Krishna will tell Arjuna is, who are you? Who are you really? We all know this famous verse. Natvevaham jatanasham natvam me janadipa nacheva na bhavishyama sarvevayam nataparam. Krishna says, we're all existing eternally. We existed before, we'll exist after, because we're eternal souls. You've heard it before, you've heard it so many times. But every single day we have to remember this. I am not part of this world. I'm just passing through. I'm a spiritual being. And therefore Krishna explains very, very beautifully. There's a physical body. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kamano buddhirevacha. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the elements that make up your material body. Then mind, intelligence and ego, right? People identify with the mind. The mind is not. We tell people the mind is not the root of consciousness. It's not the root of consciousness. It's the root of consciousness. Consciousness is beyond the mind. It's just coming through the mind. You're something beyond even the mind. And what are you? You're a soul. Sat, Chit, Ananda. How does every single fairy tale end?
Happy.
They lived happily ever after. Dear friends, this is a deep theological statement. Lived means Chit, conscious. Happily means Ananda. Ever after means. Does anyone live happily ever after? But when the fairy tales are telling us they lived happily ever after, they're reminding us that we're actually spiritual beings meant to be in the spiritual world. And so this very, very beautiful knowledge Krishna gives. We can meditate on this again and again. We need to instill this deeply in our hearts. I'm going quick because there's so much information. But this is basically what's happening. We're just going through phases of existence. This life is just one chapter. Did you know once there was a man who remembered his previous life, and he remembered who murdered him in the previous life? This story takes place in India. Some things happen only in India. So this was an unsolved case. So he went to the police and he said, I know who killed me. What do you mean you know who killed you? You're still standing here. He said, no, in my previous life I know who killed me. So in India everyone believes, even the policeman knows, So like, wow, maybe there's some truth to this. So they interviewed him. They went back, they opened up the file, they searched out that person he was claiming was his killer, and all the evidence came together. And Times of India reported, for the first time ever, a man is a witness in his own murder trial. This can only happen in India. So, this life is a chapter. It's very profound. If you think about this just for a moment, we've been here before. And just think about that for a moment. And if we don't get it right, we'll have to come back again. Monday mornings. Double geography. I don't know about you, but I'm happy to give that one a miss. It's very deep. So, Krishna says that we are the soul, and we're beyond the body and mind. And I'm going to skip a little bit because of time. But basically, remember, material and spiritual. So Krishna tells Arjuna, you have a Swadharma and you have a Sanatan Dharma. That's because you have a material body and you also have a spiritual identity. So everyone in their life, they have to understand what is my Swadharma. Everyone here in the room has a different Swadharma because we have a different body, we have a different mind. But each one of us have the same Sanatan Dharma, which is to learn how to love, rediscover love. And if we do that, then we can be materially prosperous and we can simultaneously be spiritually happy. Both things can go hand in hand. So the second thing, we have to deeply understand identity. The biggest thing in the world now is purpose. People feel like they don't have purpose. The very first word of the Gita is Dharma. And the very final word of the Gita is Mama. So if you put those two words together, Dharma, Mama, essentially, what is my purpose? That's what the whole Gita is teaching. And I share with people the best alarm clock in the world is Sony. No. The best alarm clock in the world is purpose. Because when your eyes open in the morning and you know your purpose, you will jump out of bed. Isn't it? So, Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you're right. Just winning on the battlefield, it won't make you happy. Therefore, now I'm teaching you your deeper identity and learn to bring these two things together, your immediate duties and your ultimate aspirations. Therefore, you have a role in this world, but never think that's you. That's just a role you're playing. You see, every identity will be taken away from you. My identity was once that I was a student, not a student anymore. Kind of, but not really. I used to play cricket. Just to put that out there, I was a cricketer at one point. Not anymore. That identity is gone. I used to be shy. Kind of gone. Lost the innocence. I wish I had that innocence again. I used to be a manager. Thank God, that one's gone. Used to be healthy. That one's going quick. Was never rich, but some of you may have been. But even that may go. Famous one day. And then unknown the next day. Everyone has their day. And then they have to make way for someone else. That identity goes. Not me. Even this one will end. Because time separates us. And maybe you're an atheist, but when it comes to the final moment, no one's an atheist. Even that one goes. Every single identity is taken away from us. Because Krishna wants to reveal to us who we really are. We're a spirit soul. We're not any of these things. We play these roles. And so Krishna is telling Arjuna, play your role. Understand your deeper identity. Follow your dharma. And in that way you can find success. Alright, so spirituality comes later, is it? No, spirituality comes first. You don't get into a car, start driving for 2 hours and then ask the person, where are we going by the way? Go first. My job and relationships are my identity, true? What are they? My role. I'm just doing them for some time. I have a soul, correct? I have a body. I am the soul. That's an important distinction. Everything is taken away from me, is it? Everything is taken away. That's not me. Everything that's taken away from you, when it's taken away from you, remind yourself, that's not me. That's why Krishna's taking it away. Because he's pointing me towards who I actually am. Isn't it beautiful, the knowledge Krishna gives? It's rethinking life. Go and tell your head teachers. Okay, so slowly, Krishna is teaching Arjuna all this incredible information which is helping him to change and rethink the way he sees life. So this is what we're doing today. We're learning Bhagavad Gita. I'm going very quick, and there's so much information here. Let me just pause for a few moments and see whether any of you may have any questions. Anyone? Okay. Yes.
So you said in the first chapter that the material side and the spiritual side, they go hand in hand. They're complementary. My question is so you said in the first chapter that the material world and the spiritual world go hand in hand, they're complementary. My question is aiming high in our careers, say I'm a working person, so is aiming high in the material world a wrong thing? I mean, how do I strike the balance between the two? Is it wrong to have that enthusiasm to maybe work for a promotion or maybe do a higher degree? I mean, I get very confused sometimes.
Yeah, thank you so much. We are going to go on to this in the next chapter, but I'll say very quickly. No, to be a high achiever in the world is wonderful. Krishna wanted Arjuna to be a high achiever. He wanted him to win the whole kingdom. But in Christian saying there is, what profits someone who gains the whole world but loses their soul? So on the journey of trying to do well in your career, in the journey of trying to earn, in the journey of trying to be successful and be ambitious, make sure you don't lose your spiritual consciousness. Because what can happen very quickly as we're trying to aim for things in the world is we can become so entangled by it that we forget what the purpose of life is. So by all means, be successful. Devotees, some of our devotees are the biggest influencers in the world. Some of them are the biggest entrepreneurs. Some of them are the most successful, distinguished people in their careers, and then they use those positions to bring spirituality into the world. It's so powerful. Just like George Harrison, isn't it? One time he came to Srila Prabhupada, he said, I want to be a monk. Prabhupada said, you don't need to be a monk, you don't need to get initiated, you're already Hari's son. Prabhupada said, go on doing your music, and through your music you can bring so many people to Krishna. So that's what he did, and he introduced so many people to Krishna. So yeah, by all means, be successful, but don't lose yourself along the way. Keep it in balance, like that. Is that right? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. Maharaj, it was an interesting mean that you mentioned about the head monk telling the parent that you should get the parent instead of the child. I guess. I'm sorry. So I guess I can speak for myself that it does happen where a lot of our relatives do say that you're doing this too early. There is still time, and sometimes we want our parents or our relatives to see the light, to see how beautiful this realization is. And I personally want my father to see the light. He does not. He's in this time where he's thinking, I slogged my life to take care of all of you, so I want to enjoy my life now. So how do I make him see that, it's not worth what you're doing, maybe I'm not the right person to tell him, but how do we make him see the light?
How do you make someone see the light? With great difficulty. Prabhu, we can't force anyone. Even Krishna at the end of the Gita tells Arjuna, Iti te jnanamakyatam guyat guyataram maya vimrashe tadasheshena yathechasi tata guru. I told you, think about it, reflect on it, introspect. Yata icha tata guru. And then whatever you want to do, you do. All you can do in your life is be a good example. All you can do in your life is be kind, be compassionate, be patient, be understanding. All you can do in your life is be so happy that someone looks at you and says, what are you on? And sometimes that speaks much louder than words. The CC said, I preach every day of the week. And now and again I say something. In other words, our character speaks much louder sometimes than our own words. So yes, be patient. It took us a long time. Sometimes we're looking at everyone like, what's up with these people? Why don't they take it up? And then we look at our own life and we think, well, it took me a bit of time too. You know? So maybe I should be a little bit patient. So yes, we want everyone to see the light and experience the happiness. But everyone's on their own journey. Even all of us in this room, we're listening to this and it makes sense. But maybe 10% of us will take it seriously and the other 90 will be like, that was good. And I'll remember what he said. So Krishna says, Manushanam Sahasreshu Kashkityapati Siddha. It's rare. You are a rare soul. It's very humble. So we try. Is that okay?
Yes.
And we'll take your son, right? Because you want to give us your son. Does it your son?
Daughter.
Daughter, okay, we'll take the daughter.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. Maharaj, when we study, we remember these concepts and you know, it's sort of a very good reminder. But then when we go away, I sort of then forget. And then again, sort of material energy starts to sort of, again, sort of certain mentality comes to, you know, be ambitious in the material world or to think about other aspects. So, does a time come when I'll be able to remember this all the time and continue to practice, will sort of ensure that I remember this all the time as opposed to sort of forgetting and then again revising and then forgetting?
Yeah, remembrance of Krishna becomes more and more natural as we experience Krishna in our life. In the beginning, Krishna is just a concept, someone I've heard about, someone I was taught about in tradition, and therefore some remembrance is there. But as we begin to serve Krishna, interact with Krishna, experience Krishna's hand in our life, one devotee said, I don't know if I've seen Krishna's face, but I see his hand every single day. So the more that we feel, yes, Krishna is acting in my life, he's there, naturally you remember him. And it comes to the point where you see Krishna everywhere. Yoma pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pasyati. Krishna says, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost. So gradually, yeah, Krishna will begin to hijack your mind. It's like that, no? Just like all the gopis came together one day and so they were asking each other, what did you dream about Krishna? What did you dream? So they all, what did we dream? And Radharani was quiet and then they looked at Radharani and they said, what did you dream? You tell us. We all said, now you say it. And Srimati Radharani looked at all the gopis and she said, dream of Krishna, dream of Krishna. All night I was remembering Krishna, I couldn't get to sleep. So, Radha, Raga Davati, she who is running after her object of love. So soon the mind will begin to run and your family will tell you, Pagal? running to the temple all the time. 3:30 in the morning. You become mad. Krishna consciousness should go with a health warning. You will become mad. But better to be mad for Krishna than mad for material things. Nunam pramate kurude vikarma yadindriya pritaya apranavati. Bhagavatam says people are mad, they'll do crazy things. Once my alarm went off, not once, it goes off every day. On one particular occasion, it went off at like 3 o'clock in the morning, so I was kind of like struggling, like existential crisis. Why did I pick this life? And then